Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Make sure that you like, you share, you subscribe. If you want us to buy us a coffee, that is in the link, or the link is below. Ooh, I can't talk today.
Mhm.
I just got up from a nap. It's like very rainy in Milwaukee. Um, so that happened. How was your week?
Um, well, as you can tell by this t-shirt I'm wearing, um, we had a wonderful outcome in our election this week in Oakland. We have elected Barbara Lee as our new mayor, but she's going to be filling in the remainder of the previous mayor who was recalled term. So she'll be mayor for at least 18 months. But it was a hard fought race, and I put a lot of time and energy into it. And so I'm glad that the outcome came out this way. It was really kind of a battle for the soul of Oakland. And luckily we won out. So that was part of my week. But I also kind of want to talk about a television show, which I had mentioned previously. The television show is called Will Trent. And the reason why I'm talking about it today is because this past week they had an episode which gave homage and honor to General Hospital.
Yeah.
And so it was actually not even just last week's episode. The first episode kind of brought it up a little bit. I don't think I'll be spoiling it a little bit too much to say that one of the characters on the show had a relationship with the main character. And since that Will Trent, he used to live with that character and that character's grandmother, and they watched General Hospital together. And that character, the new character, had named his child Sonny, which I just caught on
I
to.
didn't even know this.
And so, I mean, and that's all I have to say about it because I don't want to spoil the show. But yeah, just knowing that the main character and him as teenagers sat and watched General Hospital together and that they were reminiscing, they bonded over the fact that it was one of their favorite shows and grandma shows, spoke to me a lot. Plus, I have a huge crush on the main character's accent. I think it's just so sexy. His name is Ramon Rodriguez. I love you, Ramon. If you're watching, you probably, I don't know if you actually watch the show in real life, but if you do watch General Hospital and you come across our podcast, I love you. Okay, that's all I got to say.
I'll clip it and then I'll post it for him. Yeah, no, so General Hospital and Will Trent pages both shared like the video of them like planning the
Mhm.
service.
Oh,
And they were talking
planning. Oh,
about
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, they were talking about Lila Quartermain because they were like,
Mhm.
we want like a service fit for Quartermain.
I
And
mean,
then they like talked about Pickle Lila. I was like, okay, now I
yeah.
feel like I want to go back and watch the Pickle Lila story. Cause
But that's the beautiful thing about Will Trent is like if they are a fan, if the characters are a fan of the story, they will break it down. They'll break down the favorite characters and the stories and the plot lines. General Hospital just happened to be one of those shows. They've paid homage to other shows, other television shows, and not only like music. Music is a huge part of that program, and he has great musical taste. I love that show.
and the little girl who used to play Violet is in that show, right?
Hmm.
Okay,
Yes, exactly.
nice.
Joelle Love or something like yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Her
Jophiel.
she's Jophiel. Yes, she plays one of the characters on the show. So it's amazing.
I love when it
Sonia.
shows up in real life because that also happened. All American that comes on CW,
Hmm.
they had a piece of it. They were kind of like watching in real time. So one of the characters started volunteering in a nursing home, or like maybe she
Hmm.
was court ordered. I don't know, but she was like cleaning, and so she would go into a lady's room, and the lady would be watching GH, and then it was like during the Sunny Nina Carly stuff. So they were like, it was really funny to watch it happen because like some of social
Yeah.
media was like trying to push that like Nina was okay and that Sona was great, which whatever. But
Mm.
All American was like, this is crazy, and we love Carly. So it was like very, very interesting to see that like dichotomy
Hmm.
between particularly Twitter and like what basically normies who are not on Twitter were saying. So that was funny.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that when I do come across GH on other television shows, there was one other television show on Netflix that I watched that had to do with Chinese gangsters. Like the gangster son watched General Hospital and was a fan. And then another show, I like Star Wars, I mean Star Trek, they watched General Hospital when they were going back in time and watching American television. So I just think it's amazing how much pop culture recognizes the relevance and the importance of General Hospital and soap operas in general. I think it's amazing. So, yay.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a really, I think, fascinating. Anytime you're talking about, like so, the character, the actor who plays Victor Newman will do
Hmm.
something in real life, like particularly around politics, because who used to go at Trump and stuff, or like at racist, and then like
Hmm.
the name Victor Newman would be trending.
Right. Because everybody, especially amongst the Black community, man, don't mess with Victor Newman.
Hmm. Or
He's like an icon.
or like when the cast was on the J Hud show, they
Oh, yeah.
had yeah, like it was just like the comments on like on Jennifer Hudson stuff, not just on GH stuff, but on Jennifer Hudson
Yeah.
stuff was like, oh, that's Sonny and Carly. Oh, that's oh, that's Anna. Okay, Anna be dancing. It
Right.
was just like a
Yeah.
very. I thought it. I know people were like at the time kind of mad about who all went. I think as like fans are always going to be like, it could have been this person or that person. But I
Hmm.
thought the balance was good because you have Mo and Laura, who are like Sonny and Carly. That's like a staple couple
Hmm.
that people know. You have
Right.
Finola, who's like a legend in her own right. And not
Hmm.
only like GH and All My Children, but that people know her from other stuff.
Hmm.
One of the other fandoms that really travels to see Finola is what is that? Charmed.
Hmm.
That fandom really
Oh,
travels to see Finola. And as
okay.
a matter of fact, I think part of the reason they cast Wes Ramsey as Peter August is because it was like some sort of like charmed reunion. Um,
Oh,
yeah. And then you have like obviously Donnell and Tanisha to like show that we have like new people, we have black people because we're like competing with the gates. Um,
right.
and so I thought it made sense like from that perspective as to who went. So I do want to see more of our soap stuff in pop culture because that pop culture crossover has always been what kept soaps relevant, to your point.
You know what? I'm surprised that, and there may be some, but if there's like a Victor Newman t-shirt out there, I would totally wear it.
You just gotta make it yourself. You can do it on
I
Teespring.
like, yes, that's what I'll probably do. I'll find a quote of Victor Newman. It just be, and it'll
Yeah.
sell out. It'll probably sell out.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of interesting because as we talk about this show, and there are some things that we like, and there are other things that I complain about, particularly. I was like
Hmm.
seeing that people from YNR Twitter, I think,
Uh-huh.
it just came up on my feed, were like complaining about a Victor story. Like he was doing something, and they were like, "Why do they got Victor doing this? Like, let him be dignified." I don't know. I don't even know what was happening, but it just was a reminder that every show like is
Oh
kind of
yeah.
dealing with people being like frustrated at storylines. So
Oh yeah, there right now there's just like I just came across somebody's tweet complaining about the writing at Young and the Restless. Like this
hmm.
is like the top rated soap of all time.
Right.
And yet there's people who just don't like what's happening at Young and the Restless.
Hmm.
So it doesn't matter. I mean, I think there's an ebb and flow, and there's no way someone can be 100% perfect all of the time. I mean, that's just how humanity works. But I think it just but the power of the soap operas, the culture has not gone away. You can't it as much as some networks try to cancel all the shows or try to limit what's happening. I don't think it I think it's going to be soap opera is going to be around for a very long time still. So um That's just
Fingers
it.
crossed.
Yeah.
Hopefully they start getting better because I have a lot of complaints.
Ah,
I have a lot of complaints because I'm also, I think I was like saying to you, like the Roku channel plays like old
yes.
GH. And so
Yes.
I happened to like happen upon it. I happened to happen upon it. Um, that's a tongue twister, I guess. And
Right.
so, and so I came in the middle of do you remember when Franco had Drew's memories like implanted on him or something? So
Hmm.
this was like when he was like gonna leave with Tamara Braun's character Kim, and
Uh-huh.
so Kim was talking to Monica, and Monica was, and the tie-in to me was it's so fascinating because one, I used to think that was like the worst time on the show. Like they were doing something really weird with J Sam. It was
Right.
like the weird stuff around like Franco's brain, but it was Monica was willing to like travel to Kim and Franco so that she could be close to Drew because Franco thought he was Drew. And look at where we
Mm,
are now, where Drew is who he is. Just what a weird, just like
right.
in that in itself is why fans are mad. So anyway, let's
Yeah.
actually get into the show for the week. Who was your performer of the week?
So this week was kind of like a kind of a meh week for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't actually have like a spectacular of performance that really spoke out to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to shout out a character that is relatively new to the scene, but I've been impressed with his performance. And that is um Carlo Rota, who is playing the character of Jen Sidwell.
Mm-hmm.
Frankly, I think he's a great actor. He's
Yes.
also very good looking, and he has managed to maintain that Jen Sidwell character on the scene, which I think was probably meant to be temporary, but his presence has made it something that GHS wants to see more of. And so he's now kind of, I think he also has his image on the credits, right? Listen, I've
Mm-hmm.
seen him, right? So he's made the character one with staying power, at least for the time being. And so I just want to give him a shout out
Yeah.
and say thank you, you know,
Yeah.
and he's doing a
He's
good job.
very compelling. He's very, very
Yes.
compelling because we kind of don't know what the end game is with him. Like he has something with
Right.
Alexis, and he has obviously this thing with homophobic Maria Santos. Like he just has all of these like
Hmm.
different his hands in all these different pots.
Right.
But I'm never annoyed to see him.
Hmm.
I'm
Right.
always like,
I'm not.
what is he up
I
to?
want to, yeah, what is he going to do now? What is he going to say? Who is he going to like? Who's he going to flirt with? What's he going to, he's going to yell at, intimidate? What's he going to do? I just like, it's, yeah,
Yeah. So
really
shout out
good.
to him. Yeah,
Shout out
shout
to
out to him.
Carlo.
Mm, mm. Oh, he's funny. And you know,
Yeah.
the woman who plays the ADA is his real life wife.
Oh, for real. Oh, yeah. You
Yeah, and
mentioned
she's
that previously.
gorgeous and he's
Yes.
handsome. So I was like, you know what? Good for y'all.
Right.
Good for y'all being a good looking couple. Okay.
Right. With talent.
Right. Let's hop into the week um
Mhm.
and go story by story. Let's start where the week started with Drew, Willow, and that mess.
Mm.
So obviously last week ended with Carly at the Drillo house, like almost smacking Willow, leaving. We find out she goes to see Jack Brennan. And at the Drillo house, Willow and Drew are just on their self righteous high horse. I still am fascinated with the fact that they have turned Nina into someone who is the not the worst character in the scene. Like
Right.
Nina makes perfect sense when she's talking to them.
Yes.
She is like Willow is concerned that she is like Nell. Nina
Hmm.
talks her down, and it's still like, hey, but still, let's play nice. And Drew comes in and like messes that up.
Yeah.
But I think so we'll talk about that. And I think the big story out of this is that now Drew has convinced Willow to sign
Mhm.
over, what is it, guardianship of the kids if
Right.
something happens to her, which cannot possibly be legal. But it is also interspliced with Brennan telling Carly that she, like, what her behavior might have caused them to go too far, kind of like
Mhm.
indicating, because I had to rewatch it. I was like, oh, okay, because they're kind of indicating that this might be going too far.
Yeah. So I think
Yeah.
that, yeah, they made it sound like he was telling her the goal is to push them so
Mm-hmm.
much that it's like it's too far. It goes beyond what can be, acceptable.
Right.
And so implying that Carly had already done that to the point
Right.
where now Drew is trying to take kids away. And the funny thing about it is like it only actually spurred more rumors of, and I don't know if our listeners had heard it, but there's a lot of talk going on that Drew might be
Shiloh.
Shiloh.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and they're saying it is because he's trying to get custody of Wiley back or something like that. And so that's why they think he's Shiloh, which is interesting. But I think
Ooh.
I think I don't know. I don't know if it's true. It could be something that they'll work out eventually to the point where that's why, like you had mentioned, Portia is looking through the files to try to see if something's going on, and maybe they'll find some sort of medical explanation of why Drew is just turned 100% evil.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think, I mean, it's possible, but I'm not quite sure that Shiloh cares so much about what's happening politically because this isn't the only thing that Drew has been doing. And
Right.
so, but yeah, I think it's totally crazy that Willow seems okay with
Mm-hmm.
signing over the rights of their children to Drew versus their own father if something happens to her. Like that she has gone so far
Right.
down the terrible hole that she's in that she can't even think straight or think, what is actually what's best for her children. And that's crazy because
Yeah.
she's her whole thing is hanging on to the fact that she's a good mother. She's like, I'm a good mother. I deserve my kids. I make the best decisions for my kids. You're not doing that right now, Willow, and you can't even see it.
Right.
And
Right.
that's sad.
Woo, I have so much to say about this, and everything that you said is like right on.
Right.
Everything that you said is like, yep, yep. So I don't know about the Shiloh piece of it, just because like
Mhm.
Wiley's not Shiloh's. Um,
Oh, that's right.
so it
Shiloh's
could be
kid
like the
died.
get back, yeah. So it could be like the
Yeah.
get back for whatever. But I did watch because I forgot. I had to remember if Drew and Shiloh knew each other, and Drew
Hmm.
and Shiloh were knew each other from the military. If
Right.
you remember that story, because like it was so
Yeah.
convoluted and it really wasn't part of the story. So it was like kind of what was coming up as Shiloh was like exiting. But
Yeah.
I like
But like I
watched.
mentioned, yeah,
Oh,
like I mentioned last week, that was the one of the first things that Shiloh did was look up Drew. Or well, it's not,
mm-hmm.
maybe it wasn't one of the first things, but I do remember there was a bar scene where Drew and Shiloh met up and Shiloh was trying to, get Drew to recall the memories of their time together.
Right, or trying to
Um,
see if he could.
yeah.
But they did. So part of the other thing they did is that they did flashbacks with Shiloh and Drew, and they had
Right.
Steve playing Drew because that's what his face would have looked like.
Right.
And so it was like that Shiloh had like gone too far in the what is it, Marines or whatever. And yeah, so there is a history there. There is a relationship. I wonder if it's more like Helena is mind controlling Drew, because that would give more of a why she might have an issue with the Quartermains or whatever.
Right.
Other than that, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But it also doesn't explain Willow.
Sure doesn't.
So I don't know if we're gonna see Willow following behind Drew like a sick puppy was wild. And so just like
Right.
writing down some of the stuff that they talked about, I like took some notes. This is what happens when you rewatch the show, which I hadn't been doing recently. So Willow was talking to Nina, and she said that Carly had never gave a damn about her, and she knows how mean. And she told Drew she knows how mean and vindictive that Carly could be because of how Carly went after Nina. Now, mind you, Willow was not feeling that way when she didn't know Nina was her mom. Willow felt like Carly was pretty much justified. And even when she found out that Nina was her mom, she didn't really want to have a lot to do with Nina.
Mhm.
So that's already like, okay, Willow, y'all are like trying, and that is part of the issue with the show for me personally, that I don't know when they're trying to like change actual characterizations, so, which is like what they've done with Jocelyn and like are trying to do with Jocelyn and Emma, versus like when characters are just being Delulu. And
Mhm.
so I part of the issue with the Drillo story is that nobody else sees it as an issue. That was also my issue with Sona, where it was like
Mhm.
people should be looking at this side eye like, what? Like, what do you mean Sonny and Nina are together?
Right.
And I'm not even saying that it couldn't have happened, but I'm saying it would have been a more interesting story if more people would have been like, I don't know about all this.
Right.
So you have Willow saying people are treating her poorly or people have turned against her. Nobody who shouldn't have turned against Willow has turned against her. You are not a pariah in town.
You still have your job.
You still have your job. You still have everybody talking to you. The only people who have an issue with you are the people who should have an issue with you. And the only person
Mhm.
who has like turned against you that I could see why you would say that is Sasha. We don't have
Mhm.
any scenes with Jocelyn and Christina like coming at you about their brother. We don't have scenes with Dante going at you about his brother. We don't have the scenes where people are being judgmental to you. And the only reason that Sasha went so hard at you is because you went hard at her
First.
when you should have been like her nurse.
Right.
She should have reported you. So for me, it's just I think really I don't understand it. And this is what happens when they are not committed to telling good story, that you just have people in this one perspective that doesn't make a whole lot of sense and it doesn't reflect what we've seen. And it's just really lazy storytelling.
Well,
Um
I think
oh go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think Willow as a character hasn't changed at all. I think
Mm-hmm.
she's exhibited similar behavior when she's gone from one relationship to the next. And I think
Mm-hmm.
I had said that. Even in her relationship, I guess, with Carly, she's not a very strong-willed person at all. She kind of
Right.
follows where the wind blows. Wind in the willow. She's she so she goes where she feels she's being protected and being taken care of. That's where she's gonna go. That's what she's gonna follow. And Carly was her champion when she was with Michael, and now Nina is her champion now that she's with, well, what she thinks
Right.
Nina is her champion now that she's with Drew. I don't think Willow has changed very much, and it makes me sad because she's not very strong. She's not very independent, and she's acting like she's making decisions on her own, but she's not. And it's
No.
like you are being pulled and you're being, bamboozled. It would actually serve her better if she wanted to be away from Carly in the quarter means that's fine. She should be on her own. That's one thing she should have listened to her mom about. You ain't got to live with the corner maze. You ain't got to live with Drew. You can be on your own. And yet she's choosing to be with the man. And that is sad. It's
And
so sad.
did you peep that she had not told Michael?
At
She
all.
Michael did not know where his children lived.
Right.
That is a problem. If you felt like you couldn't tell your baby daddy where his kids live, then that's not where they should live. Especially when Michael has not been abusive to you, you're not fleeing him. Like your issue is that you think that he might get custody from you because you cheated. And
Right.
all of your behavior thus far has like reflected that you shouldn't have them kids. Because I actually, as a non-parent, right, I
Hmm.
still understand what it means to like love your kid. And so,
Right.
and I always think about that and reflect that in story, no matter what they're trying to tell. I'm like, well, that is a mom. So I can empathize with Willow being scared of being cut out of her kids' lives. Like she is kind of alone versus
Right.
a big family. And I
Right.
said this, and I do think that people who were fans of Willow, I can understand why Willow and Chase was their favorite relationship for
Yeah.
Willow. Because for the most part, Willow still had friends, she still had autonomy. She like her and Chase were both kind of loners.
Hmm.
When she got with Michael, she didn't have anybody but people who were connected to Michael. And if you remember going way back to when we talked about this, I said if something happened between Willow and Michael, who would choose Willow? Even if Michael was 100% in the wrong, who would choose Willow? And
Right.
so versus now when he's not. So I can understand like why you would have these like feelings or want to do with whatever with for your kids, but your behavior now ridiculous. Believing that everybody should, I understand why Nell was mad. You comparing yourself to Nell, that's on you. But pretending like Nell didn't come into town, like trying to get even with people, like trying to do all of these things. Nah, girl. And
Hmm.
then the other thing is, she had made all so going to her signing over this paperwork with Drew, he kind of was like, well, so he already had it written up. So Pete Powell, both Nina and Drew are doing all of this legal stuff and just springing it on her.
Hmm.
So he has this thing signed up, and he had this signed up before there was this issue with Carly in this way. He just gave it to her when Carly came over.
Hmm.
And then was like, you'll be we're gonna protect our family, like you'll be Scout's guardian. Why would Scout go to Willow? And why would you
Right.
take Michael's kids? Because Willow went from I want to make sure that I have my kids and my kids don't get cut out of my life to I want to make sure that Carly doesn't get my kids. And
Hmm.
that's a very different vibe.
Mm.
And one is
Yeah.
not, and the other, and that one's not rootable. It was slightly rootable when you wanted to make sure you kept your kids. It's not rootable if you're like, I don't want my kids to go with their grandmother if something happens to me. You didn't even give them kids
Or
to
Michael.
Nina.
Or Michael. Michael,
Right,
he may be in the hospital right now, but he's not going to
right.
be in the hospital forever.
Forever,
And
right.
yet you're sending him to Drew, sending your kids to Drew automatically.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. I want Diane to like find that paperwork immediately
Right.
because that is they just make my skin crawl as an entity. Like it's the power dynamic. It is
Yeah.
if they just had like because when they first were starting, I was like, oh, I can kind of see they got a little chemistry, not in a way that I liked it, but I could understand. I could see the like connection or the draw between them. Um, and if Willow was like more on equal footing with him, or if it didn't feel like so manipulative, but there is
Hmm.
nothing to root for in this relationship that like really seems borderline abusive.
Hmm.
So I don't know. You got anything else for Drillo?
Not only was he ready with the papers, he was ready with the pen. He's like, oh,
Oh,
I'm
but you
ready
can
for
take
this. Who
time if
cares?
you want to. But
Right.
here's his pen.
The pen, right? He had it ready. I'm
Ugh,
like, dude, you're disgusting.
gross. What a gross
Ugh,
person.
it's so gross.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of Drew, so let's keep talking about other storylines that like are adjacent to Drew. We have Kai's surgery, and I want to
Ugh.
talk a little bit about Kai's surgery, and then I also want to talk about this conversation that's really around Trina's story and what Trina got
Mhm.
going on. So obviously, we have Drew. like saying he's going to pay for Kai, connecting Kai with his surgeon. In the midst of all of the drama at Drew at the Drillo house, Kai comes over to say he's ready to meet with the doctor. Trina talks to Portia and is like, here are all the reasons that I don't think this is a good idea. Portia basically tells Kai that it's not a good idea. And Kai is like, I'm gonna do it anyway. And Trina, I want you to like be by my side to like support me. So that's where we are. But Trina's story is just Kai. I don't know. How are you feeling about how are you feeling about this?
I mean, I think we've talked about this over and over and over again. It's just not a good idea. Trina needs more than that. And unfortunately, the writers aren't listening to us. So right now, I mean, that's what we're getting. And we have outlined many different stories that Trina could have had, like we did last week. And yet, it's still the same. So, I mean, I don't think I have more to say than what was already been said. We need Trina to have her own life. We need Trina to have her own story. Um, because even, I don't like we're not yet invested in Kai to believe that this is good, like we should care a lot about what's gonna happen to him. In the sense that I don't even think he's a permanent fixture on GH. I think anything can happen. He could have the surgery
Right.
and it go bad and he just walks away from the show and then that's it. Or he could have the surgery and it goes well and he goes on to play football and walks away from the show. Either way, I don't see him as a long-term character. And
Mm,
so Trina has been on the show for a long time. She is a long-term character, so she deserves a long-term story. And
right.
so, you know, that's all I feel. I don't
Mm,
feel like there's anything more to say except, we gotta continue to watch this humdrum storyline that she's in and
hmm.
just be like mad. you know. I mean, I don't like
Yeah.
they're not listening to the fans at all when it
And I
comes to
think
Trina.
and I think that it's like it's tough, right? Because I think that when it comes to like listening to the fans, you
Yeah.
actually never know
Mm-hmm.
what fans to listen to. And so for me, I'm always like write a good story. Fans are gonna
Mm-hmm.
like it or dislike it. You're gonna, but at the end of the day, you have to write a good character driven story
Right.
because, and I've been talking about this forever, which is Trina doesn't get a good story if her family doesn't get a good story.
Mm-hmm.
And so right now, Curtis and Portia are barely together. We have more scenes with Curtis and Jordan, and uh, Portia is not doing anything likable. If you go back and you look at, so GH posted like a video, like for the anniversary video. Did you watch it? It was on their like YouTube
Yeah.
and stuff, or not YouTube, but their Twitter and their Instagram. And
Yeah.
so Donnell said he wanted Curtis to have a baby, which I was like, okay, Donnell. And
Yeah.
then Brooke was like, yeah, so much of if you go back and watch it, she was like really clear. She's like,
Mm-hmm.
so much of what we see Portia do is all about Trina. Let's give Portia some other motivation. And
Yep.
so for me, I think, and I've been saying, I'm going to continue to say it. It is so easy to disappear Black characters when they are not rooted.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the reasons that I really wanted for them to have Trina remain Taggart's daughter. And even like in a show that we know blood doesn't really matter when it comes to family because TJ is not blood, speaking of somebody who got disappeared to like the Ashfords, but like
Mm-hmm.
they still love him, he's still family to them.
Mm-hmm.
We could have if Trina they still respected Trina as Taggart's daughter, they could have pulled on the lineage of Taggart having a problem with Trina being with Spencer, just like he had a problem with Gia being with Nicholas.
Mm-hmm.
It that never even came up in the relationship for Springer. Ever. It never came up. It was
Mm-hmm.
not I went back, I was like, it's never been mentioned. And so if you think about like Liz and Lucky, for example, that one of my favorite scenes since he's been back is him playing the guitar and then like
Hmm.
them splicing in him singing the song to now, like that history is what roots people to the show. And so Trina, like, not only does her family not have a story, she does like her story is a new character that people are not invested in. It's not even a character that people had invested in. Because I think if it was something like she had this story with like a Cameron, for example, who is like rooted in the show and important and all of that, and not Spencer, people would feel less of a way about it. I think it's perfectly valid that people are like, "What is this?" And it actually then sets up Trina and Kai for failure because there is some bitterness of like, why is this her story?
Hmm.
And I think that bitterness is valid.
Speaking of
Mm-hmm.
Taggart, noticed this morning that there's some, social media chatter, or at least Twitter chatter, saying
Okay.
that Taggart is not legacy because he's not one of the 1963 family members. And I was
Okay.
like, I'm like, no, he's been on the show for a long time. He's been on the show a lot longer than some of these new characters, and yet they're saying he's not legacy. He could be a stronger legacy character if GH gave him that respect that he deserved. Like they
Right.
should not have kicked him out of the show. They let
Right.
him hang. His strong, like some of the strongest scenes he's ever had were in those last few days at him turning towards alcohol after hearing devastating news that Trina wasn't his daughter. That man, Real Andrews, deserved so much better than he got. And if he
Mm-hmm.
got it, he would definitely have been considered a strong legacy character. And
I
so
mean,
I
it's
don't like that
yeah.
disrespect. It's disrespectful, but it's not their fault that it's disrespectful because it's the writer's fault and the producer's fault. Um, because
No, I
they
think it's
disrespected
everybody's
him
fault. I
first.
think people saying it's their fault too. Because the other
Yeah.
thing is like, it's clear like legacy is not about being there from the beginning, but it is about, like I said, having roots in the show. And
Right.
so the
But they're saying he
reason,
doesn't have roots either because he's not even from Port Charles, like he's from Bensonhurst or something. I'm like,
whatever, the reason that they made Trina Taggart's
right.
daughter in the first place is so that she could have a tie to the history of the show.
Hmm.
Because Trina came in and we didn't know who her father was. We didn't know who her parents were.
Right.
So the Taggart piece was so that she would have the time in. Otherwise, she would have been no one's daughter.
Right.
No, or no one who's on screen, similar to what we're doing with Kai. So,
And his
yeah.
like we still don't know who Kai is.
Where's your
We
mama
don't
now?
have his where's his parents? He's making life altering decisions and no family member is there supporting him. It's crazy.
And even the conversation with Portia, she didn't really ask about his family. She's like telling him you could, first of all, there's been more instances of this surgery not working than working.
Hmm.
You could end up paralyzed from this surgery. Where is your mama now? Like, Portia, you would have a fit if Trina made this decision without you.
Hmm.
So why is nobody saying let's get your mama up in here?
I mean, she asked, I think she asked briefly, like, what did your mom say or what did your parents say? And he's like, I haven't said anything to them or something like that. I'm like, she shouldn't have left it at that.
No.
She should not have.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And even well, Drew's not a good person, but if Drew was even pretending to be a good person, could have said, hey, what do your parents think? None of these
Hmm.
people care that he's out here making this decision on his own.
Hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Mm-mm. Yeah. It's not a good story. It also is just like we are not invested in football. There's no investment. Like nobody cares about any of this. Like
Mhm.
it just wasn't anything that was like moving to anyone.
And ABC didn't have like some sort of contract with NFL, or they weren't even doing any kind of sports entertainment, were they? Because I'm just trying to understand why they were talking about football, of all things.
And it's not as if like Mac was a coach. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right, yeah.
getting somebody connected to the no, the PU football team who we know, who would then have a relationship with Kai outside of Trina, and like had us, I guess, more invested in PU football. Like none of that happened. It's just vibes, and the vibes are bad.
Mm,
Anyway,
mm,
Trina needs more of a story, like we said. It's it's particularly frustrating because they are moving her away from her peer group. So we have Emma and Joss, who we talk about now, like
hmm
embarking on whatever storyline they're embarking on. And if you notice, Emma has the whatever story she's doing with like the spy stuff, and then she has this connection to Anna and Felicia. This is what happens when you have like strong family background. When you see Emma walking into the hospital and even saying, "Oh, yeah, it's fine. I grew up here." That's history and legacy for the character. So we have these two legacy characters like kind of embarking on a story, and Trina is not in it.
hmm
So they're pushing forward with this story, whereas Trina is getting left behind in a story that we really do not care about, with a character that we don't know, where she's essentially sidekicking for him. Yikes. Anyway, so Joss says that she's back from Easter Island. Her and Emma are in the same, what is it, chemistry, physics? Some sort of,
it's environmental physics.
there you go. Environmental physics class. So Jocelyn is like behind because of her WSB fake Easter Island training. And Emma is a rock star in the class. And so this new guy who was on Y&R is their professor. Um, he wants Emma to be like a fellow over the summer. And we come back to this idea from Emma that Jocelyn has like paid her way out of trouble, or that she's spoiled, or that she gets anything she wants because of her billionaire father, which is like
Ridiculous.
ridiculous. And it also, but it also does make me wonder if that is why she got recruited into the WSB. If there's some like
Hmm.
Jerry Jack's family ties, because they're not talking about her being, I mean, she's an heiress from Jack's, but she also is rich from like the Sonny Carly piece of it as well.
Oh yeah.
So
But
they
I think your line of questioning in terms of Jerry Jacks, I don't know, Jerry Jacks wasn't part of WSB. He was kind of like an enemy of them at
mm-hmm,
some point. Yeah. So I can see how them thinking, oh, this is a rich twist. Let's recruit one of the Jacks family members to be a part of WSB, you know.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But in any case, and then Sebastian Roche or something, I think his
Yeah.
name is, who used to
Mm-hmm.
play Jerry. He actually did an interview where he said he's not counting on them calling him to come back, but he wouldn't be adverse to it. You know, those kind of
Oh,
interviews that makes
okay.
you think that, oh, something's gonna happen. But it was interesting. So,
Hmm.
which would be great if he did come back, because I really enjoyed him as well.
Yeah, I thought he said he wasn't going to come back, so that's interesting.
Yeah, like he was, yeah. So,
Mm, okay. So, but yeah, now it does feel like we're setting up because it looks to me as if Joss is gonna go after this whatever internship to get close to this professor. Because while
mhm.
Emma is doing her volunteer work at the hospital, we see Joss have to go see Dr. Gannon because of her ankle, but then also see this professor and follow him and text Vaughn about him. So it does kind of lead me to believe that Jocelyn is going to do something, maybe even pay her way into this fellowship program so that, and then it's going to lock Emma out, or either they'll do it together and Emma will assume it's because of the money. That's what it really feels like. Because this is like, there has to be a reason that they're saying this, and it goes against the characterization of Joss and everything we know about
Mm,
Joss.
mm, that's interesting. I just thought
Yeah.
they were trying to give Emma a reason to hate Jocelyn, even if it's a totally unfounded and unreasonable
Hmm. Yeah.
hatred. But that's interesting. See if she actually uses her money and power to get this position.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
Mm, okay.
So that's what I think that's what it feels like they're setting up, but we'll see. Put a pin in it. We'll see what happens. We got Sonny and Laura. So
Just
Laura,
laughing at
so and also like Rocco weirdly in his debate prep, which I'm like, y'all, I do not care about Rocco his
like
debate.
what debate prep? Now
Particularly
here's the
because
thing. The
we've
other
not seen anything, so we don't even
right.
we know we're not even going to see the debate for Rocco.
You know what? Let me bring this hark this back to I'm sorry. No, because that might be spoilers. But I was just gonna say, I was gonna hark this back to Will Trent. Because one of the kids in there is doing a play. We see him practicing. We see him doing all the things. We're not ever going to see him in the play, but we can actually buy that he's actually applying to be in a play. We're
Hmm.
not seeing any of this. It's just all of a sudden he's been practicing so hard for this debate. We have not seen any of that
Right.
at all.
Yeah. So we have this like slimy Congressman Drew, but also city council person, run up on Laura in her press conference. So the Esplanade, which whatever. They Drew obviously in this city council person, they're trying to get it pushed onto Sunny's land. Laura is like, I'm friends with Sunny. I don't want to just do that to him, so I'm going to put it up for a vote. Um, and they are calling it to question why she would put it up for a vote. In that press conference, they also charge up Jordan. Jordan quits to go work for Sidwell. Um, but yeah, we have this Sunny Laura storyline. If you also watch that video that I referenced about the anniversary, you also saw that Jeannie was really excited to be working with Mo again. So she really loves Mo and wants to be working with him. I wish they would have given them a better story because I do not care.
He's all, I would have worked for you for free. Shh, don't say anything. I'm like,
Jeannie
oh
got
my God.
Mo back. Mo working with Mo. She got Jonathan Jackson back. She over here shipping L&L too, like she should. You know.
Yeah, this is Jeannie's time right now.
Hmm.
um, poor Kevin's out there at some conference having the time of his life at the gates. But in any case, um, yeah, I mean, I think, and it's interesting that they're trying to gear. It's almost as if they're playing the long game and trying to figure out how to keep this story and it be about election and politics and stuff like that. So I find that to be interesting. So there's going to be this referendum, and not only is this conflict with Sonny and the mayor, but now it's also about Sonny in of himself and whether or not he is somebody that Port Charles should rally behind in of itself. Like, so that's an interesting concept to have Sonny be a part of the political process and what that would mean. Is he going to lobby for himself to the citizens of Fort Charles? Is he going to be
Hmm.
out there? Is he going to be out there door knocking and campaigning to make sure that he can hold on to his land? Or is he going to, take a step back and let Port Charles decide on its own whether or not he should be allowed and what that means for his business, what that means for his family? That has a lot of little interesting side conversations about the story, even if it's not necessarily interesting in of itself. It brings up some interesting dynamics. Because part of the story
Hmm.
is everybody's trying to convince Sonny to, except for Diane, because she wants that money. But everybody else is trying to say, Sonny, take a step back. don't fight it. Just let the will of the people decide. And he's like, nah, because that will make me weak, you know?
Right, right, right,
So, and now we'll have Carly talking about, yeah, I'm going to go and do this surgery with you.
right. So I think part of so obviously what they're trying to like set up is that there's going to be like you said a referendum on Sunny. There's going to be
Mhm.
people who are um, wanting to get rid of him on the pier because of all the violence in the city. Only problem is we haven't heard about violence in the last few years.
And the only violence that really has taken place is other people coming at Sonny. Sonny himself has not been the cause of the violence
And it hasn't been at the pier.
at the pier either.
So, like, what are we talking? This is just yet again it's lazy. Yet
Right.
again it is. Yeah, it's just. I've said this, and I just feel like I'm saying the same every week. They have not set up a world that feels like it is dangerous to study. We're not seeing guards. We're not seeing like actual danger happen. We're not hearing about it. These things are not happening to like make it be the hinge of this story. So I'm glad they brought up, that Sunny paid for TJ to go to school. I'm like these things are actually very true. Like that is more of what we've seen from Sunny. And they want to have it both ways with him. Like they want to
Hmm.
have this story where he's this mob boss kind of off screen, but they want to show us a grandfather, a philanthropist, like all of these things that are like we've only seen the coffee business, and even and even the guy that they like killed in Canada, it happened on accident, and it was after he
Right.
probably had something to do with burning Michael up. So for me, I don't, and we have been told look, I've watched this show for years and years. You've watched the show for years and years. What we've always been told that it was that if Sunny was not in place, somebody more dangerous than Sunny was going to come in place.
Right.
So is that not the case anymore?
Right. Because they're not, I don't, well, here's the thing. We hardly ever see Selena Wu.
Hmm.
And so again, she's not necessarily seen as some dangerous mobster, except she's definitely a manipulator. And she
Hmm.
has her bodyguards around her 24/7,
Right.
but she's not necessarily seen as big of a threat as Sunny
Right.
is, supposedly.
Right.
Though
when we know she's more ruthless and dangerous, though.
right, because we've seen her do more ruthless and dangerous things.
So I don't know. It just feels I don't know if this is like an exit ramp for Mo off the mob, an exit ramp for
Uh,
Jason out of the mob. Um, we will see what happens. But like you
well,
said, he did. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, because even in that promo, Steve Burton was like, I'm a deadbeat dad. I gotta do more to show that I'm a good
Hmm.
father. I gotta make decisions for the family versus the mob. So it almost at least at the very least, it sounds like that's what Steve Burton would like to see Jason do, to step away from the mob and be more of a parent.
Yeah, it's just the mob piece of it has been so ever present, and
Hmm.
even when it hasn't been like a huge part of um their lives, it has been.
Hmm. It colors every decision that they make.
Right.
Yeah.
Hmm. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see how they proceed with it and the story they tell. We're probably gonna be mad every week at how wrong they get the politics piece of it.
Okay, can we talk about that press conference? Because
Yes.
that was like hella crazy. That council member kept talking at Laura and yelling at her and heckling her more so than any reporter there. And I was like, that's not good council person decor. Like,
And how about me though? When he was talking about how bad it was to put something up for referendum, I was like, democracy is never bad. How dare you think asking what the will of the people is bad?
right.
I couldn't I couldn't tuck in my former campaigner. I was mad. How dare you?
And I'm just, as a staffer of a council person, no matter how antagonistic they are towards one another, they would have never ever done something like they did. It's just crazy.
It's giving baby Trump, but you know.
Right, definitely.
Also, like Drew being so anti Laura.
Oh yeah, so let's talk about that. His new plan.
Mm,
So, for those who are watching, Drew and the new council member or the old, I don't know if he's new or old, they had a meeting in the back and they were talking about how shocked they were that Jordan decided to quit. And they're like, well, and Drew's like, well, this just sets it up so you can run against Laura and you can be the person in power and you do everything that I say. I was like, like, so for real, Drew? So this is something else that you're trying to do? Is you're trying to
hmm
usurp power from Laura and then be the person that is in control of Port Charles altogether?
Right.
Okay.
Because he did say it very much like, you're going to take her job and then you're going to be in my pocket.
My kid. Yeah. So now that
Okay.
is not actually unheard of in terms
No,
of politics because
it is
there
not.
are, especially in the Bay Area, we've had a couple of state level folks want to control every aspect of local government. I've seen
But
it.
he's federal level, though.
It doesn't matter.
No, 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 but I'm
Even
saying, like,
if,
that's the
yeah,
thing. He's federal level.
he's
And
federal level, and but there are people. If you're a strong local player and you even have a job that's not even directly in local government, that doesn't mean you're not trying to set up things that you can have people in your pocket at the
of
local level.
course,
That's what I meant.
of
And
course.
so,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, but I'm saying that, like, also the guy that he replaced, like, they made this big deal of how good of a guy he was. So I'm
Yeah.
also interested to see if, like, they bring back how Drew is not. Like, he doesn't
Hmm.
deserve this McConkey seat
Oh yeah.
because, whatever. And, like, Nina, where's your dad or whoever else? Because that was who
Hmm.
connected and whatever. So
Right.
I think that that would be an interesting way to bring it back too. Um, well, I say
Is
interesting. That's a heavy lift of a word, but
is
it
Nina's
would be
dad
something.
still? Yeah, is Nina's dad still alive?
I supposedly, I don't know.
Okay. Because I
Maybe
mean,
for the
I
sake
think,
of the show,
yeah,
because we've never
okay.
seen him.
Never. He's never really talked about either.
No, the only time we
Yeah,
ever heard her talk about him was to connect her with this
yeah.
guy. Yeah,
Okay.
we know her mama, but we don't know her daddy.
Right.
Yeah, and so we also had obviously Dante's birthday party. Dante's birthday
Mhm.
party had everybody there. Baby Donna was being very cute. Rocco was
That
telling
shit
Dante that he
was.
didn't. So adorable. Rocco was telling Dante he didn't want Sonny at his debate to like protect Laura. Olivia was being telenovela Olivia again about it when she, when she found out that Sonny wasn't coming. I
How
liked
dare
this.
you?
I also liked the scene with Rocco, Danny, and Gio. And it was funny to me because Gio's always looked young. He looked so much more like their peers than he. But
Ever have.
yeah, Gio's fighting the online trolls for Sunny. But the kind of gem that comes out of this is that um, he is talking about where he was born and being born in LA, and Lulu picks up on this. So it looks like Lulu might end up putting together the pieces before anybody else that Gio is Brooklyn and
Brooklyn.
Dante's son.
I didn't even think about it. I just thought that definitely there seems to be. Oh yeah, okay. I just thought because Brooklyn had said that she had the baby in San Francisco. I
This
didn't
is San
even think.
Francisco.
Yeah, she said San Francisco, and then
Oh, he was born in
Gio said
L.A.
LA. Yeah. So, um, but also what I thought was interesting was the kind of speculative looks that Rocco was giving Gio. Now, at this point, Rocco has no idea who Gio is to the family,
Right.
but it looked like he was feeling some kind of way about how close Sonny and Gio were and
Yeah.
how and so he's already starting to catch some negative feelings about Gio, and then he's going to find out that Gio is his brother someday. Woo,
Hmm.
that's some drama.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my. I didn't even really peep that. You're right. Because I thought he was looking at it more like he's feeling bad, but now that you say it, like, yeah, he's like, and this is like Rocco moving kind of away from Sonny while
Hmm.
Gio stands 10 toes down for him.
Right.
Mm. And when it blows up, I'm imagining that Dante is going to be mad at Lulu for whatever reason.
Of course, because she
Um,
knew. And remember, they had that kind of closure conversation because Lulu um confronted Dante about the little, affair
yeah,
that they had. And at the end of all that
affair,
conversation, the little
teenage romance.
teenage romance. And at the end of that conversation, Dante was like, it's right. We shouldn't have secrets between us. So from now on, no more secrets. And she was just like,
Mhm.
uh-huh. So after she had called him out about keeping a secret, and now she's holding on to this other secret, he's gonna feel some kind of way.
Yeah, yeah. I also saw this like argument that was happening online. I don't know why all this stuff made its way into my For You page, but it was about um I think it was because it was a picture of Dante with Danny and Rocco, and it was
Hmm.
like and like talking about Scout not being there.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, Jason's more of a dad to Scout than Dante. Bring it back. Jason was
Wait.
barely a father to his own children. Let's calm down. And I get it. I get the J Sam urge to hang on to this. Sam is
Hmm.
gone, y'all. I'm not about to be fighting over her kids.
Hmm.
Dante and Jason should be living their brother husband dreams, and
Yes.
raising them kids together. They can both be single for all I care and raise Sam's children. I like I and as
Roommates
a
in
matter of
an
fact,
apartment. They can all live in one happy house. Kind of full house thing.
and matter of fact, let's bring Sam back. Let's say that the person that Cyrus killed wasn't actually Sam. It was I forget the name of the person it could be, and then let's just bring Sam back. Still my dream.
Exactly. Yeah, I
Still
mean,
my dream.
you know what? If Helena is out here manipulating Drew, she could be holding Sam hostage too.
Yes. Tanya, speaking into existence.
Yep,
Absolutely. Where's
exactly.
Helena? Helena, we need you.
We need you back. Constance, come back.
Come back, Queen. We need you.
Right.
We have many storylines that you would have your hands in. We need you back, Queen.
Exactly. She has Spencer, she has Samantha, all up in some sort of lab, just whatever, God knows what with all of them.
There you go. We ready. We need you back.
Right.
Because the other thing is with Spence, like there is nothing compelling enough about Kai and Trina that will make me think that Trina would even look back at Kai if Spencer came. Like
Right.
she doesn't like she would feel bad. It's not, like
You're
it's
like, it was great. It was almost like he's almost like a Rory.
Did you remember like how Emily felt bad when it was between like Nicholas and Xander? Trina would be like, Kai, you love football.
Uh,
See you later.
it was
Like,
fun. You were a great practice, but I need to get back.
gotta get
Back
back
to
to what I
my
was doing.
right. Good luck with the surgery.
So come on, Helena, we need you back, Queen.
Right.
Um, everything blew up, and you have to explain this to me. So, and everybody finds out about Natalia's like old like relationship with Sidwell. Now, I can get why Sonny was upset about it, but I do not understand what people at Deception are mad about.
Right. Because they
Was that
they
tripping?
all just they all decided that it was okay to take Sidwell's money, but you're mad that Sidwell had an ex-wife.
Look, I don't get what
I,
the issue is.
right, I don't. It was very manufactured. But at the same time, we now have not only homophobic Maria Santos, we have traitor homophobic Maria Santos, who done told Sunny's story.
Well, but she also didn't really. So, okay, backing up for people who aren't watching the show. It comes out for Marco, their homophobic Maria Santos' son, on his side, everybody finds that's Sidwell's son. And then it comes up with deception when everybody found out that Sidwell was homophobic Maria Santos's ex-husband. Um, deception folks, like particularly Lucy, everybody was like so upset about it. I don't really get what's happening because we also have Sidwell going to Tracy trying to get Sonny out. I don't get why the folks at Deception are upset. I don't get it.
Right,
What?
because like
Tell us in the
Marco was
comments what
saying,
I'm missing.
yeah, because like Marco was telling, so when Diane and Alexis found out that Marco was Sidwell's son, Marco, being a great lawyer that he is, said, "You never asked me about my parentage. That is not a job requirement to tell you who I'm related to." So
Mm-hmm.
that same coin could be said about deception. No one asked Maria Santos. I'm calling her Maria. But anyway, no one asked her who she was married to. And it
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be a job qualifier. So why are they so upset? It's like a good question. So yeah, commenters, tell us something because it just doesn't make any sense. Um,
Hmm.
Especially
Yeah,
if
I
they were
don't.
willing to take his money. Or maybe
Right.
it was just a plot point to get. So for those of you who weren't watching, they find out about um Maria Santos, because now I can't recall her actual
Homophobic Maria
Natalia.
Santos,
Natalia. They find out about Natalia via Jason. Jason goes and tells
Maxie in Brooklyn.
Maxie and Brooklyn that she is Sidwell's ex, and then um, Maxie tells Jason, the only reason why I let Sidwell in is because Sasha said, and he was like, what? So now we find out that Jason gets hit to the idea that Sasha has some sort of deal with Sidwell. He doesn't know what the details are, but now he knows this. So maybe it was a plot point to get them to the point where Jason knows about Sasha. I don't know, but yeah, it just seems really
Mm-hmm.
inexplicable for them to be as mad as they are or
Yeah,
care.
because I can understand why Diane and Alexis feel away because that was like you are lawyers speaking about not telling them about your dad. Your daddy, according to Tara, is an East African warlord. Like when she talks about Marco, and she was like, you know, East African warlord's Latino son. I'm like, my God, it's like the layers. It gives me like that. If anybody like is all heavily online, that gift of Lotto, where she's like, but
Mhm.
anyway, that's like how I feel about that combination of words. But yeah, so I can understand why they are like Sonny's our biggest client. It's clearly like whatever going on. You need to have let us know. You know your dad's connection to Port Charles. Like, of course, I get why the job would ask. Like, you know this will be a problem.
Right.
I could understand why Sonny wanted homophobic Maria Santos to tell him because that's a problem.
Mhm.
Deception, babes, y'all are confusing me. It doesn't make any sense.
Mhm.
I'll also say I did love Carly and Lucas's scenes. They are so funny as brother and sister. They have like it's like an instant natural chemistry between the two of them, and like a very good give and take. I
Hmm.
we'll talk a little bit more about the cursing scenes, I guess, but like I've always felt like Sunny or like Laura and Mo have that give like a really great give and take, and now I'm really feeling that between her and the actor that plays Lucas. It's so funny; they're so good together.
Hmm.
Um, but to your point, you were saying that homophobic Maria Santos sold out Sunny. She kind of did. I mean, she did, but she kind of didn't because he doesn't need open heart surgery. So I don't know why she would have said that.
Hmm. No, don't they want to correct whatever damage to his heart happened
Yeah, but
after he
I don't think it's open heart surgery.
okay. Well, I know from technology it doesn't have to be. It could be laparoscopic.
Come on, Grey's Anatomy.
So that's my pre-med background coming in. Um, so I don't know why she said it like that, but she did tell him something he didn't need to know.
Yes, it was weird.
It
We
was
also have Jordan now working for Sidwell.
Mhm.
Lucy, when she came and saw
Lucy was
Jordan,
like,
I
she's
said,
like, what are
Lucy,
you doing
girl,
here? She was like, what are
Lucy,
you doing here?
girl, get it together,
This is
please.
not your house. She acted like it was her house, and that was her man, and Jordan needed to go.
Girl, Lucy, girl, get out of here. Um, but I also loved when Isaiah, the actor that plays Isaiah, his face acting, amazing.
Oh yeah.
When Jordan went and told him that she was like, I got a new job as a COO. He was like, okay, well, like where? And she was like, with Sidwell, and his face
He's like,
fell.
he was like,
Give that man an award for just that sequence because I I 100% believe he was like, girl, what are you talking about?
he's a great
And
face actor.
and we'll see what happens, but it does seem like he that Jordan kind of broke up with him and was like, we can't be together while I'm doing this. Because Sidwell told her that she wasn't gonna have a personal life.
Right?
So
Which sounds like some workplace employment issues that she needs to address. But she's not unionized, so there you
there you go. Get a union.
go.
um we had some weird stuff with Nurse Amy, the turf, as I call her. Um Big
those
JK
were
Rowling
those
energy.
those were hilarious too.
But it ended with I did love that Laura had told Elizabeth that the Spencers were her family. I thought that
Mhm.
was sweet. They might as well be because all your kids call Laura grandma. So yeah, and then and then um and then Lucky is now going to be basically moving in to take care of Elizabeth.
So
So
Lucky, yeah, Lucky and Laura had a scene in the kitchen, right? Because Laura
mhm,
was like, I know there's something up. What are you doing? What's going on? And even though Lucky didn't tell her what the secret was, he implied that there was some sort of secret that he's holding back from Elizabeth. And
mhm,
Laura was like, you should tell her. And so it
yes,
made me think that he's going to tell Elizabeth soon about the accident. I hope so, because I'm still super mad that he chose Christina over Elizabeth, telling
me
Elizabeth the
too.
truth. And so I hope he comes out with it pretty soon.
Hmm. And I just feel like Christina is a ruiner, and I don't want her to ruin Eleanor too.
Right.
They haven't been. They're not even like together firmly enough to already have drama. Because you know, like with any relationship, basically when characters get together is the countdown to them breaking up. We're not on
Hmm.
the countdown. We're not on the clock yet because they're not together yet.
Hmm.
So no.
Tell the truth.
Um, I we also have like Christina kind of being like a little psychopath. So Ave,
She
Alexis
not.
decides not to put Christina in a hospital in a mental health facility, commit her if you would,
Hmm.
because she's becoming so close to Molly. Diane was like, "Girl, what is this?" And so
Hmm.
now Ava is going through with the blackmail of Alexis. Um, but yeah, we have like Christina just kind of standing by Molly and being there and acting like nothing. It's weird. It's very weird. Um, yeah, I thought it was really petty and funny when Molly went to the hospital and had that like coffee for Rick, and when he found out it was from Christina, he didn't want it anymore.
So you go ahead. I
Yeah,
thought it was hilarious when Ava was like, "Well, Alexis, my fee has just got higher."
the price. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Right.
But also I like that Dante went to go see Rick, and he was just like,
Mhm.
"It's the Benson Hurks in me," and like my mom will want me to go see my like family in the hospital and whatever. I like that. Let us get into the Ava and Alexis of it all. I think I probably feel differently from you. So
Yeah, you don't
Alexis,
like that.
no, Alexis decide it is that I don't like anybody. So that's the case. But Alexis decides that she's not going to commit Christina. Therefore, she's going to get blackmailed by Ava. Rick is also getting money from this, but he is not kind of on the record of getting money from this. Um, and so when Alexis essentially like reinstitutes Ava's in like her divorce settlement before she leaves, Ava's like, "Nah, I need more than that. Like this is a good
Right.
start." So
Yeah.
now, despite all of this, she is going to have Alexis under her
So here's the thing. This is Ava
thumb.
being Ava. No, she's just being petty and she's going a little bit too far. Similar in the same way where she, watched while Sonny was off his meds and didn't do anything and actually kind of kept it going. This is the same Ava energy where she just goes
Hmm.
too far and she doesn't check herself in the way that she
Hmm.
should. She's not experienced a lot of growth. She's experienced some growth, some things, but she's still willing to take it too far. And that those are things I don't necessarily like, but at the same time, that's Ava being Ava. And when she does it, she's almost like it's almost like top tier Maura West. Because she was funny, she looked great, always
Hmm.
looking classy and just, being petty and evil. I enjoy it as entertainment, but yeah, morally, it wouldn't be a decision that I made,
Yeah, I mean, I
obviously.
don't necessarily know if
Yeah.
I don't care about the morality piece of it. I think for me, Ava, I'd still hold her responsible for what happened with Morgan. And to
Well,
be
yeah.
honest, like I love Maura West. Y'all know
Hmm.
this if you listen to this show. Like Maura West acts down, period. Um, but that doesn't mean I like Ava. And so I teeter on Ava, and I thought that her and Rick were foul for the. I don't, and I really dislike Christina. Like I don't dislike Ava, and I don't dislike Rick. I do dislike Christina, and I still thought their behavior with Christina was foul.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm not rooting for any of these people. So I hope they all get in trouble. I hope Alexis gets in trouble. I hope that
Yeah.
Molly finds out what Rick did and goes off on him. And I
Hmm.
hope that something ridiculous happens to
Yeah.
Ava. I'm also in the minority. Like I'm a person who doesn't really care for the Ava Trainer friendship anymore. Um,
Mm.
I think part of the other issue that I've had around like Trina when it comes to her mom is that so many people in so much storyline has been given to Ava when it comes to Trina. Like
Hmm.
the thing that could soften Portia and like not being overbearing but actually being caring and listening and thoughtful for her daughter has gone to Ava.
Hmm.
And it actually has been taken from Portia in a way that annoys me. And there used to be a really, especially when they first put Ava and Trina together as like a friendship, it made sense because it's yet another thing that like cemented Trina as being important to the town and like gave her different people to interact with, which is why I said I would have loved. when Sasha quit being the face of deception for it to have been then Trina because she's very cute, so she would have been a
Mm-hmm.
great face, and it would have put her in the orbit of different characters that she doesn't normally see.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, and I think that it also when Ava is at the height of her foolery, it means that we have less scenes with her and Trina anyway, because it seems like the writers don't want Trina directly wrapped up in her being a fool.
Mm-hmm.
So
But I think it's also something that just keeps Ava from having 100% happy storyline because she keeps getting in her own way. She's currently in a somewhat good place. She has her settlement back. She has some custody of her daughter. She has a great relationship with Rick. Why does she need to push that button a little bit too far? And that's
I mean,
always the
does it
case with yeah,
is
just
it a
like
great relationship? Because Rick would prefer to be with Elizabeth, and I just think that
yeah.
Ava works better when her back is against the wall for something that she didn't cause. When Ava,
Hmm.
I mean, again, like the mother thing, when Ava like kind of blackmailed Sonny around like Mike and Avery and all of that stuff, I was like, look, this is Avery's mom, and you're trying to keep her away. I get it.
Hmm.
I understand how mothers have to make decisions that people might not like or that don't seem rootable, but it's
Hmm.
rootable to me in some ways because you're a mom. So I think that when Ava is being mistreated and she does desperate things and she schemes when people are wronging her, I can get down with. I think when it's something else, that's when I'm like, here we go.
Yeah, that's the point I'm making. I mean, she somewhat has everything that she needs. She has
Hmm.
a somewhat custody of her daughter. She has a job. She has her money back. She does not need to be pushing Alexis in the same way that she's doing. And
Gotcha.
that's
Yeah,
where
yeah,
it's going too far. And that's why she's never going to be happy because she does take things too far when it's unnecessary.
yeah.
And so
Hmm.
it gets her into these desperate situations where she has to go even dirtier than before.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And the blackmailing a lawyer is so I would have preferred for Alexis and Diane to really be talking about it after the fact how it's less about the leak because they could probably get Christina off legally on this. She's
Hmm.
not actually on camera cutting breaks, and you have Ava like you can't like that evidence chain is like tampered with.
Right.
So with her moving, and to like tell a lawyer that or for lawyers to know this is just like so weird that nobody is like girl whatever. The real
Yeah.
issue is that if it comes up, it's about proving it to Molly.
Right.
Like
Because
Molly is not a court of law, so Molly will
and
understand and know that you did it.
and exactly. And the thing is Diane doesn't know the evidence. Like the only she hasn't seen the camera tape. She just
Hmm.
heard that what Alexis told her. And she doesn't even know about Ava's part in it. If Diane had all the information, I think she would have been able to convince Alexis to be like, no, don't do this. But Alexis held back. And so now
Hmm.
Alexis is making stupid decisions.
Which is,
you know,
you know,
right.
makes sense for Alexis because
Yeah.
speaking of Molly, I cracked up and I was like, I have to know what Tanya thinks about these Molly Cody scenes.
Girl, I didn't even watch that. I just fast. It may have been playing in the background, and I was like, oh, that's Cody. Let me not pay attention because I really did not even like. I don't have any notes because I don't even remember it. It was just like whatever. Well, I like you know I like Kristen Paganos. I like her. I don't like her with Cody, so it's not worth watching. I'm sorry.
Hmm.
They're pairing you up with the wrong person, girl. Get out. Find somebody else. Because this ain't it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Ain't it.
Yeah, so you didn't watch it, but Molly ends up getting a flat tire, and in comes Cody on a horse. And after all this time, they had to like ride off on the horse with Molly like holding her briefcase. I knew you were gonna hate it. It was silly. But
Yeah.
Chilin has decided to adopt. I'm happy about that. I thought that was a good scene, them talking through it, them talking about what happened with Christina and Molly, and like um also talking about possibly adopting like an older child, talking about the way the Quartermains adopted Emily when she was older. So I am interested to see like if they actually do adopt and what that means. And then the Carson scenes. So as we said, homophobic Maria Santos tells Sidwell that Sonny has his heart condition, and Sonny finally tells Carly about it. I love
Finally.
when she was like, "Who all knows?" He's like, I'm keeping a tight circle." So it's Laura, Dante, Christina, this person, that person, homophobic Maria Santos, and she's like, "Yeah, very tight circle, Sonny." And so she said she's going with him out of town to get his heart surgery.
Right? This totally
Classic
on
Carson.
brand.
Yeah.
Classic. And it was great.
Hmm. I liked it. I liked their scenes together. I like the
Hmm.
emotions from their scenes. Um, yeah, I like that. No matter what happens between them, they're who they are. Together or not together,
Yep.
it is what it is. I think that's the last thing on my list.
Mm. I have
Anything
something I
else that
want to
I'm
talk
thinking
about.
of?
I don't know what you're thinking of, but I got something I got.
Tell me.
Man, Sasha and Jason.
Yes,
I
that's the
saw,
one thing. Okay, yes. Sorry,
I
I
saw
can't believe
some,
I almost read that.
I saw some stuff that I did not like.
Hmm.
Okay. So basically, Sasha has another sonogram, and
Hmm.
Jason was there. And she was doing some flirty things that I didn't appreciate. She was touching his arm when the sonogram came through. She was holding on to him. And then she's like, I certainly hope that we could be friends and all this stuff. Girl, stop it. No, you and Jason are not happening. No, Michael, I need you to come back. I don't know what GH is doing, taking his sweet time trying to recast him. I don't care if you recast him or what. Michael needs to come back and stop this mess from happening because it's not, I don't like it. I don't.
Hmm. Hmm.
I do not like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and then Jason wanted to send Michael a sonogram and Sasha's acting funny about it. And then
Right.
when we end the week with Jason coming in and asking Sasha why she sold out to Sidwell. So I think that's a great question. I think Sasha has been doing a lot of really weird things. I know a lot of people don't like Sasha. I do. I mean, well, no, let me stop. I like Sophia, the actress who plays Sasha. My earring keeps coming off. I like
Hmm.
Sophia. And so that transfers to me. I'm like, yo, Sasha's been through so much. Sophia's been really carrying so much emotional weight. I would hate to stop liking her just because whatever, but they are giving her a terrible story. They're making her character look really bad. And I'm not a fan of it.
Okay, but I have to actually shout out a scene. She had a scene with Olivia in the kitchen,
Hmm.
and Olivia was telling the story about how she was accepted to the Quartermain family. So she was telling Sasha that when she first got married to Ned, she felt alienated from the family and she didn't want them at the wedding. And Tracy didn't actually go to the wedding. But
Hmm.
she immediately felt better when Tracy wrote a letter welcoming her to the family. And when she pulled out
Hmm.
that letter, man, I had tears because I knew.
Oh.
I was just like, oh my God. I was like, Tracy wrote this letter. We didn't even get to see the contents of the letter. But the way she set up that story and the history, and we know the history of the Quartermains, and we know how Tracy be getting down. So everything that she was saying that didn't necessarily happen on screen, we could believe it. And then when she pulled out the letter, I was like, oh, she's a family. She's part of the Quartermains. And I teared up. So shout out to, Lisa Lucero, and because she pulled that story off well. She was only on the scene for like maybe 5 minutes, but had me tearing up. It kind of
Oh,
reminded me of when her and Dominic had that scene between the wall when Olivia went to
oh
rescue
yeah.
Dante.
Mm.
Those were so powerful. And it just goes to show the skill of Lisa Lucero, the acting. Man, that was great. And it wasn't even like a heavy scene, but it was just something that really pulled at my heartstrings. So yeah, I want to name Livia, Lucy Lucero. Yes, you're one of my actors in performances of the week because that was actually a great little scene and I loved it.
Mm. It was good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I got. You want to talk about? You want to hear what's happening next week? I haven't read these, so this will be live.
Okay. Live reaction, y'all. Get ready.
All right, Monday. Carly is insistent. Sasha
Mhm.
makes an admission.
Please don't let it be
Luke,
she loves.
ugh, God. Lucas hears
Oh,
Marco out. Jordan and Isaiah come to a decision. Sidwell visits Alexis. So you remember Sidwell has that knife with Alexis's fingerprints on it. So
hmm.
Tuesday, Trina confides in Curtis, probably about Kai. Carly betrays an ally.
Nina.
When
It's Nina.
is Carly gonna find out that Drew and Nina slept together? Uh,
Oh
Kai
God.
Kai updates Drew. Lucky gives Christina some tough love.
She needs
Willow
no
seek
love.
Willow seeks help from Jason. What? Wednesday, Carly and Jason clash. Tracy makes an offer. Dante and Lulu discuss family matters. Laura defends herself. Drew's reaction surprises Willow. Hmm, okay. Thursday, Sonny prepares for surgery. Brooklyn is alarmed. Danny opens up to Jason about missing Sam.
Mm.
Molly issues a warning to Rick. Cody needs medical attention. Friday, Carly gets news about Sonny's prognosis. Nina plays dirty. Brooklyn calls out Lulu. Christina is in for a shock. Willow hits a roadblock. I wish it was an actual roadblock.
Yeah.
Well, that is our week. Thank you for rocking with us if you stay to the end. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, buy us a coffee if you feel moved to, and we will see you next week. Oh, happy Easter.
And happy 420.
Happy 420. Bye, y'all.